Welcome back to Sailing Seadream of Clyde. In this episode, we continue our adventures around the Loreto area in Baja, Mexico. After a bit of a late start to the day's sailing, we find ourselves arriving in the dark to a beautiful Bahia Belandria on Isla Carmen. With hopes of making it to our next anchorage without using the engine, we employ some extreme light wind sailing tactics to get out of the bay. After dealing with variable breezes for much of the day, a northerly wind eventually does pick up. As is often the case around the Gulf of California, it ended up being much stronger than ideal. Not wanting to bash into the wind after dark, we run back to Isla Coronados to wait out an incoming gale. But hey, there are far worse places to be stuck. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the episode.
After a quick stop in Juncalito, we are on our way north, heading towards Coronados and beating into the weather as per usual. But it's a nice breeze, have full canvas up, so looking forward to it, hopefully staying steady and us just making steady progress as we bash our way up 16 miles. We're just chilling.
Yeah.
It's been really pleasant sailing. It moderated a bit. It's probably only like 10, 12 knots wind, which is quite nice for close haul. We're cruising along at about 4.5 knots or so. It's going to be a little bit of a later evening. Probably won't get in until 8 or so, but this is all good. The hydrovane's doing all the work, so we're just hanging out, listening to podcasts, and enjoying a nice evening of sailing. Nice to be making some tracks north. As everyone's talking about how cold it is and people are going south, we're happy to be going north and hopefully find some quiet anchorages up there.
I am wearing a toque though, just want to point that out.
Oh yeah, Kat's wearing a toque, and I am wearing pants. This is a rarity, but it's all good. It's pretty sweet. Well, we haven't sailed into the darkness like this for a little while. It's a nice clear night, and this moon will be coming up eventually. But this is how the day unraveled. We got a ride into town from our friends Pat and Pierre, thanks guys, yet again. And so we took advantage of that to restock before we go off the grid again for maybe up to 10 days. And yeah, it's all good. We're going into Belandria on Isla Carmen, and we know that spot. We've been in there before, pretty straightforward. Just take your time moving in. And yeah, the wind's kind of fluctuating. We're sometimes going 4 knots, sometimes like 3, and angles fluctuating, but that's sailing. You just work with what you get. And on Seadream of Clyde, we're always doing that. We don't turn the engine on unless we really need it. We don't need it right now. Right, Kat?
Right.
Well, given that we came in the dark, we're in the not-so-prime spot when the wind's blowing outside the bay. It's not windy where we are, but there's definitely chop rolling in, so I didn't have the most restful sleep. How'd you do, Kat?
Yeah, I want to keep sleeping. I'm tired.
Yeah, I feel pretty tired, but there are 3 boats up in the more protected part of the bay, so we're going to have to try and snug in there with them. Because it's not bad, but it's just uncomfortable on board. It's just this kind of constant motion and yawing where we get the little chop to the beam. It's kind of noisy. So it'll be nice to tuck up further, and we're going to hang out here for 24 hours or so. Seems that this pump is having some issues. There must be an O-ring that's chewed up now or something. But after a nice chill morning aboard and into the afternoon, we're going to head ashore, go get some exercise, go for some hikes. Yeah. Cat's pumping up the jam. So, like most of the park area around Loreto, there aren't really trails to speak of, but there are sort of goat trails and human trails that have formed over time. Folks that follow this channel will have probably seen this hike before, but it's a pretty one, so let's go do it again.
Good morning. It's a beautiful day out. It's nice and sunny and calm, which would otherwise be lovely, but we are trying to sail 25 miles. So we will see how it goes. Might be some floating anchorage type of deal, but that sounds pretty nice. There's 4 other boats in the anchorage that will be some fun racing marks that we will try to navigate around, and we'll see if we can sail off the anchor. There is not much of a breeze in here, so
should keep us occupied for the next hour or so.
Yeah, we'll keep the key handy just in the event that it doesn't work.
We're off to a riveting start here. We're going 0 knots at the moment. We'll see if we have to turn the engine on here to not drift into Beluga. But there's already a boat jumping to take our spot. It's one of the 3 good spots in this bay. Totally going. What's your speed?
It says 0.4.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Half a knot.
0.3.
Okay, we're going half a knot out of the bay now with the help of the sup paddle. Pretty good, actually. And then we'll get like a tiny gust of wind and be on our way, but we'll see. It's pretty calm right now. Okay, I just saw 1 knot on the chart plotter, so things are looking up here. We got a slight little breeze kicking up. We should be at San Juanico in about 26 hours at our current speed. All right, now we're raging. Going like almost 2 knots. I see 2 knots, that's great. Okay, our patience paid off. Another sail off the old anchor. That was more of a drift off the anchor, I'd say. Got too close. Okay, after about an hour of sort of sitting in the same spot, going slightly backwards, we are underway again. It's amazing how after going like 0.5 knots for a while, 2 knots feels kind of fast. The seas are pretty flat. There's just this little swell coming in, so even if there's not much wind, we should be able to make a pretty good pace here. And it's forecast to pick up at around noon, so this is the start of that noon wind, I'm thinking.
As we made our way towards Isla Coronados, the wind refused to stay steady. Constant fluctuations in speed and angle kept us busy trimming sails, and hand steering as the hydrovane requires constant attention in such fluky winds. However, with calm seas and lots of wildlife keeping us entertained, we were having a nice time out on the water. Finally, as we passed the northeastern tip of Isla Coronados, the wind picked up nicely. As is often the case along the Baja coast, the winds are either on or off. Within a matter of half an hour, we went from struggling to keep sails full to reefing. The waves in the Gulf of California are notorious for how quick they grow in size and are almost always steep with short intervals between them. This makes for an often uncomfortable and wet ride. When bashing towards windward in such conditions, progress towards one's destination is quickly slowed, as each passing wave not only slows the boat down, but also pushes the bow off the wind, making the tack angle frustratingly poor. This particular afternoon quickly turned from doing the old drifting anchorage into way too much wind to reasonably bash against. With the wind now raging against us and daylight waning, we made the quick decision to turn around and run back towards Isla Coronados. While we only had 7 miles left to go to our original destination to San Juanico, we were uncomfortable with the idea of entering that particular anchorage in the dark due to the many reefs that surround it. Further, the wind was still increasing, and with gale force forecast to be possible as darkness fell, it was time to admit defeat. As we eased the sheets and began the 10-mile run back to where we came from, everything felt so much easier. I always find it incredible how dramatically the hectic environment of close-haul sailing can be so easily replaced when you turn the bow off the wind and place the waves behind you.
seeing these waves from going downwind really made it clear it was the right decision to turn around. They're getting so steep so quickly. That's just really classic of this area, where it blows 20 knots, 25 knots for a couple hours, and then before you know it, the sea's just a bit of a frothing mess. Of course, the waves never look as big on camera as they are in person, but it's short, steep seas that have a lot of power to them. So we're happy to be just running. And we didn't have to go to Juanicos. It was gonna be nice to be there, but we'll be just fine at Coronados while we wait out this blow.
The rest of the sail was fast, and aside from some gusty winds as we rounded the southeast corner of Isla Coronados, it was pretty uneventful. While we don't aim to sail into anchorages in the dark, the open southern side of Isla Coronados is an easy place to approach at night. We even managed to sail onto anchor, making it a completely engineless day.
Okay, well, after, we sailed like 20 miles or something, 25 miles today, and ended up 7 miles away from where we started. And it was the right choice for sure. It's hard to make that decision to turn around when the place we were actually going was a little closer than where we came back to. So we got in here properly in the dark. As we sailed in, I saw, what is that light? Is that some tents on shore? It was actually cabin lights of a boat that didn't have their anchor light on. And there's some places where, it's maybe not quite as big a deal, where if you were motoring in and you're going to be looking for boats that are anchored. But in this is a really broad anchorage. It's like over a mile long, where people can anchor wherever. And so I think fishing pangas and stuff come through here maybe the night too, when they're coming back from net setting or whatever. And so that's a really sketchy to forget your anchor light here at Coronados. So make sure you do that. And luckily, we spotted it. Kat shone the spotlight on them, and then they turned it on when they realized what they had done. We got a great spot here. We were able to use Google satellite imagery to see that it was nice and sandy. And we're going to enjoy the evening here and watch some shows, have some food, and that's about it. So good night. Well, we're back on Coronados, going for the old stroll to the other side of the beach. But when it's windy like this, there are no pangas around, so we have the whole island to ourselves. I think we're the only people here, unless there's some kayakers hunkered down somewhere.
Usually, Isla Coronados is a very busy place, with small open boats called pangas shuttling hundreds of tourists daily from the nearby town of Loreto. But when the wind is howling, tours stop, and the island is left to the few cruising boats that decide to stay put during Nortes. We savored having the whole island to ourselves. While it was a bit cool with the wind, the sun was out, keeping it very comfortable on this January afternoon. After our walk, we returned to a yawing sea dream of Clyde as the gusts of wind came and went, and we settled into our cozy cabin for the evening. Overnight, the winds mellowed out some, and in the morning, we were greeted by the resident dolphins that frequent the area.
We're getting a little break from the strong winds, still blowing, and there's quite a big swell wrapping around the corner. It's really impressive how it's a northerly swell, but it's wrapping around and coming to us from the southeast. It's incredible, the refraction. But yeah, it's a nice morning other than this roll, and a couple dolphins coming by here, and looking forward to going to shore. A little cloudier today. We'll see if it clears out. But yeah, just waiting this out. It's a good place to be. What are we up to?
We're going for a little stroll up an old volcano.
So the trail begins really nice and easy to walk on with lots of signage, and then it becomes more of a route with lots of loose rocks, and it's a bit challenging up high, but any fairly able-bodied person can definitely find their way up here. It's a good adventure on Mexican trails. Is that the trail right there?
That's the trail right there. Goes up.
Yeah.
Once you leave the flats behind, the route up to the top of the volcano is quite rough and and can sometimes be difficult to follow in the rocky sections. However, if you keep a close eye out, it's easy enough to follow where other people have hiked. Along the route, there's a section with some rocks that make some incredibly metallic sounds. We always enjoy playing some tunes with them on the way through.
Here's the steeper section. Lots of loose stuff, but fast on the way down. We found a little spot of the wind near the top of the volcano and just had a little snack. Beautiful up here. It's really neat to have this whole island to ourselves. No one in the other boats has come to shore since we've been here, and there's no pangas at all because of the wind. So that's a fast, fun bit, but you gotta stop and get all the gravel out of your shoes after though.
The next day, the winds reared back up to a constant 20 to 25 knots, keeping us hunkered down on the boat throughout the day. We took it in stride and focused on enjoying the forced downtime that yet another norte had committed us to. These strong northerly winds occur at regular intervals in the Gulf of California throughout the winter. They typically last 3 to 4 days and vary from 20 knots on the low end and up to 40 knots or greater on the high end as we experienced earlier in the winter. The nortes are typically forecast well ahead of their arrival, which allows prudent mariners to find a good anchorage to ride them out in. While these winds can be frustrating, it's just one of the realities of sailing in this almost constantly sunny and pleasantly warm climate. Coming up next time on Sailing Sea Dream of Clyde. After 3 days of hiding from the wind, we grab the tail end of the blow and sail back to Puerto Escondido to reprovision and get set for an unusually calm stretch that's forecast to arrive. With little to no wind, we keep our distances short and enjoy checking out a few anchorages we had never had a chance to enjoy before now. Thanks so much for watching, and bye for now.